Let's see, where did that pump rod go? Uh-huh. Well, 1 inch, 763 thousandths. Yeah, 1 inch, 763. Okay. All right, wanted to check that, and then the other thing, original jet needle. Is that a 6 to years? Looks like it's a 6.4A. It's about 62 thousandths. And these aftermarket ones here, these are about 48 thousandths. So it's going to be a little bit of a difference there. Let's see, overall length. About 228. That's on the aftermarket. So a little bit difference in size. We're doing carburetors on a 1981 CB650F. So was I getting about 2 inches, 212 thousandths. 2 inches, 212 thousandths. About 228. Looks like the step on top could be a little bit different. Okay, and then I also need to take some measurements of these pipes here. So let's go ahead and go, let's see. And then I think it's just this air pipe right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and manufacture these really quick. Hold on, let me shut off the air compressor. Oh. All right, cool. Let's see what we're working with. There we go. Perfect. There we go. All right. All right. Let's see what else we're doing here. So we'll go overall length, about 1 inch, 514 thousandths. Let's see if I can fit all these dimensions here. Length, OD, so length 1 inch, 500, and what did I say, 14 thousandths? Okay. Yep. Let's see, we're about 862. Yeah, enough. And then air pipe. Let's see, we're looking about 2 inches, 538. Give or take. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go OD while we're here. So about 275. About 275 thousandths. Okay. It's about 354. 353. It's gonna be a little bit of wear. Go with 354. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're gonna manufacture these little pipes right here. It's a discontinued part. So every now and then, when I come across discontinued parts, like for example, the accelerator pump cover, we had to source this one. Pretty much the part that meters the fuel, it's pretty rotted out. And it fell out. I mean, maybe I could fix it. Could like super glue it back in or stake it around the sides. Maybe epoxy it, but here's an aftermarket replacement, and it actually has a replaceable jet. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's like a leak. That might be like a leak jet. I'm not sure, unless that's the leak jet, that might be fixed. So without like getting into the figuring that out, I'm just gonna assume I don't actually have the bike. We're just cleaning these carburetors here. So these carburetors came pretty much fully, I want to say fully disassembled, but the rack was still together, and all the components were pretty much inside. The only thing that was removed was like really like the CV tops and the float bowls, so they could be vapor honed. And then after that, it was brought to me, pretty much disassembled, and then now I pretty much split the rack apart, hypersonic washed them a couple times, went through them, figured out what parts are bad, and basically we're going to be reassembling now. One of the other little tricky parts why I kind of procrastinated was figuring out how the choke plate springs went back on. I couldn't remember how that went back together, so I was like, I'll force myself to get back to it. And then I also wanted to copy these parts here. Whenever I get like a vintage or an older bike, something that's like more than 10, 15, 20 years old, usually there's a lot of discontinued parts. So if there's something that I can make on it that's pretty easy, and other people, it's going to help other people, they need that part, it no longer exists, theirs is messed up, they don't have access to the tooling. Somebody like me can usually make these custom parts. That's what we're going to do. Not sure how many people are going to need these, but I see them selling online on eBay for maybe around 25 to 40 bucks. So I figured if I supply a new set, newly machined, include with O-rings, might be worth making the part. But ultimately, we're gonna go ahead and find out. Yeah, appreciate it. Boodle, what is that? Boodle G5. Let's see where we're at. This one's going to be about 273. Let's go ahead and write this to about 273. Is this air pipe really 275? Yeah, it's 275. Okay. So could be wear, it could be a machining, difference. 2,000ths of an inch isn't a whole lot. Now let's see here. So are these all the same shoulder ends? So it's about 58, 57. It's about what? 55. It's about 60. So they're all a little different. So let's go ahead and go with shoulder thickness for number one. About 58 thousandths. About 58, 59 thousandths. 59, 58. So we'll go shoulder in. It's about 58 thousandths. Let's see, fill pipe number two. About 54 thousandths. Oh no, that's a little different. It's like 58. So one side might be a little, some looks a little thicker, that looks a little thinner. Just be a machining irregularity. I mean, it's only what? This is 50, 57 thousandths, 58 thousandths, 55. So it's only a couple thousandths. So we'll go, maybe to be on the thicker side, we'll go same thing, 58 thousandths. And then forget what this one was. Same thing, about 58. I'm going to go minus 0 plus 2. And then the OD will go minus 0 plus 2. Let's see, and then length. Length is probably good enough. All right, so then maybe I could also get some tolerances here, kind of help out with the manufacturing process. So gap on that one is about 1 inch, 200. 1 inch, 200 thousandths. That's going to be on Let's see. Distance. Let's do 1 inch, 200 thousandths. And let's see. About 553. Okay. About 227. 229. 229. Oops. So we'll go 2 inches, 229 thousandths. And let's see. Forgot to take a measurement on the inside. I think these were all this, probably all going to be the same though. So that's about 95. It's about 98. 98. Is this one? 98. About 90, yeah, about 97. About 98 thousandths. That's all I'm thinking. Okay, so what I say was about 98 thousandths. Go ahead and go +1 -3. Let's see what else. Is that all I need to make them distance? Yeah, I think that's it. What else do I need to do? I think I got everything pretty much figured out. So let's see. Now I think I can go ahead and make these parts, is what I'm thinking. Fuel pipe. Yeah, outer diameter. These are all 1 diameter, so I would just groove them. Groove them to about shoulder. So about, well, what did I say, 58 thousandths. So I touch off about 58 thousandths, 58. Yeah, because they're all about the same thickness. And then let's see. Ooh, I also need to know the depth. That's important. Almost forgot a critical measurement. All right, hold on. So groove width. So I got a couple measurements. So that's shoulder in. These are all 58. And the distance between the inner shoulders, outer shoulder. Probably mark that. Outer, inner. And that's inner distance. So outer thickness, inner distance. Hopefully I remember that. I'll have to do the blueprint on it based off my notes before I forget, and I got a groove width. And then what's the total? What is that? Oh, 65, 64. It's like 64, 65. Okay. Except for this one. This one's going to be different. So 165. So we'll go and what are we going to call this dimension? Is going to be groove outer diameter. So fill pipe. We're looking about 244. 244, 245. Okay, and then what are these again? These are like 165. Let's see. Yeah, about 165. We go plus 0, minus 1. This is plus 0, 1. Okay, now I think I got, oh, wait a minute, almost forgot. You get that whole dimension. So I have a feeling those two look identical. That one I can probably measure like this. So it's about 180, 180. So we'll go groove, we'll go for diameter. So we go, what is it, 180? Okay. See if I can measure the V's. Not sure how accurate that is. We got about 77 thousandths, 76, 77, 77. I'm going to say that's close enough. Okay. Any other dimensions that I need? I think that's pretty much it. Let's see, washer thickness, length of the jet needles. Let's see, washer thickness. I got different thicknesses. Various rod length from tip to step. Okay, 1 inch, 763 thousandths. So I have to cut this one down. 1 inch, 763, somewhere like right. Close enough. Okay, we're gonna have to cut off the tip of it right there. Shouldn't be a big deal. All right, and then the only other thing was the needle thickness. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a tuning difference. I'm gonna assume there's gonna be, that was another thing without getting too crazy into the different jet needle tapers. Let's see. So about 60 thousandths on the original, and we're about 55 on the aftermarket. Let's check the mid-range is about, what is this? On the original mid-range is about 98 thousandths, mid-range 98. Let's see. Then idle, same thing, around 98. 98. Actually, what was the aftermarket? 97, 97. Okay, so that's when it starts to transition. So wide open throttle, 60. So this one, the aftermarket needle, this one right here, this one's going to be getting a little bit more fuel. Let's see, at idle, it's going to be getting about the same fuel. Just maybe, I don't know how you translate that, 1/1000th of an inch. That's probably like, the CCs or flow. You can't even, it's not even worth the computing. But basically, it looks like there's about a 5 to 10,000 step, if I wasn't mistaken, at some point. Let's see. So that's like 85. Yeah, and that's still, so like, yeah, this one jumps the mid-range on the aftermarkets, like actually maybe like it transitions quickly from 5, 10, 15 thousandths in the mid-range, and then wide open throttle is going to be a little significantly richer than stock. So the other thing too is that machining depth is going to drop this needle a little bit more. So supposedly these jet kits are for this bike. The stock jet needle is going to be usually to pass emissions. I was kind of looking at the carburetors and the features of it, and I'm assuming this is like the first generation or first year, the 81 and 82, where Honda had to make major revisions in order to pass the EPA emissions. So they redesigned their carburetors from the original was a mechanical type to a CV or constant velocity type carburetor. This is the first year on this particular model that they're utilizing the CV carburetor technology. And I was thinking they were doing that, it's probably more efficient of fuel, engine vacuum speed basically controls the main jet circuit, based off of vacuum pressure and porting and how the diaphragm opens. So with all that in mind, the stock needle is probably set to pass emissions. The owner of the bike did say that they do have an aftermarket exhaust and I think pod filters. So in theory, this jet needle right here should offer a slightly richer condition over the stock needle. Not necessarily on the idle circuit, but from the mid-range to wide open throttle, it's going to be richer significantly enough to where, with those modifications, it should kind of even them out and make the bike respond and run well. The only thing is, from doing some measuring, the stock and aftermarket maybe about 1 or 2 thousandths in difference on the idle portion, which is up here. Basically, the needles get installed like that. So when they're sitting down inside the emulsion tube, like that portion right there is sticking out, basically blocking the air getting sucked in, or the fuel mixture getting sucked into the motor. And then as you pull the throttle, the butterfly valve opens. There's a decrease in pressure on one side of the vacuum on the throttle valve, and that causes the slide to open because there's a pressure difference, which raises the main jet needle. And as this taper gets thinner, it allows more fuel to bypass through the emulsion tube, through the Venturi into the engine. And so you can basically control, or it's not just main jet and pilot jet circuits. The jet needle has a lot to do with it. So just kind of want to figure out exactly where we're going, because The issue is, if I had it my way, I would install all the original jet needles, but it looks like for whatever reason, two are missing. I only have two of the original jet needles, and then the owner of the bike provided like maybe like 10 or 15, like I don't even know, like 10 rebuild kits. I have so many rebuild kits. It's ridiculous. Um yeah, there's like 5 rebuild kits in here, but they were saying that they had to buy them all, so we're not going to replace all the parts if we don't have to. I got a bunch of like O-rings. That's the thing too. It's going to be quite interesting to figure out what, how what's what. These are the float needles here. Not too bad. Clean them up, but all the kits, it comes with a bunch of gaskets, so I'm not sure if that was for this bike or not. We'll have to figure all that out when it comes down to it here momentarily. But let's go ahead and try to start assembling these carburetors now that I pretty much have an idea of what we're doing. So let's see, if I'm not mistaken, these are going to go like this. And I forget number 2. Does this go like, actually, I think this one goes like this. Number 2, because when they get flipped over, I forget, did I put all that? I believe I did. Yeah, this is number 2. So I think I have these all backwards. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see. Yeah, because that's the throttle, I believe, for, let's see. Yeah, that's the actuator for that one. Then these technically, I don't know why I set it up like this with 1, 2, and 3. I think it was because the carburetors were, they get installed off. That's why, because when I disassembled them, they were disassembled like this with the well, actually it's this plate, but they get disassembled basically facing this direction right here. So that's the main reasoning why, because they're all technically like this. There we go. Now my brain is remembering. It's been a couple weeks since we worked on it, but this is basically how they all go right here. Pretty straightforward. So we didn't take apart all the throttle valves. We're just going to go ahead and check. We cleaned them. The ones that had to be taken apart for disassembly were mainly the choke plates. All the choke plates had to be removed. And then I think this one throttle valve right here got removed. And so what we'll be doing is, I was looking, some of these seals right here, like the seal, they're using felt seals. That looks like either a brass or felt seal on the inside there. It is capped off, so I'm assuming that's brass. And then this one right here doesn't have any seals on it. I think that has a felt on that side. It's just using a rubber boot essentially. Oh, actually, this is the throttle valve. We didn't take this one apart right here. And same thing, didn't take this one apart right here. We'll go ahead and spray a little bit of oil in that right there to kind of make it a little bit more, free. The reasoning why I didn't take it apart is, if it doesn't need to necessarily be taken apart, they weren't too dirty. Sometimes to not lose orientation of parts, it's better to kind of keep things together. Only really disassemble what's necessary. I mean, the most I'm going to be able to do anyways is maybe pack a little bit of grease on the shaft ends, but we can go ahead and, just spray a little bit of light oil in there. Is probably not going to hurt anything. And let's see, I kind of needed to, let's see. figure out an oil, like a good oil to spray in there. I think I'm like almost out of light oils at the moment. Let's see, a little bit of white silicone. I mean, you could use a little bit of white silicone maybe if you're careful in like how you sprayed it. And it's just basically like on the ends of the shafts where they go in. The other thing I would probably use is going to be white grease, white lithium grease. And then I'm thinking last thing will be, once we get the racks put together, then probably assemble the, what would that be? The float bowls, maybe. I think the float bowls could probably be assembled, or maybe, let's see. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the float bowls, and then do the the vacuum pistons last. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So that's going to go like that. Let's see. I know there are these little boots that went on the shaft ends right here. So there's going to be, the whole thing is to try not to forget anything during the assembly process, because if you forget, then on these carburetors you have to like take everything apart to get to them. And these carburetors, even for me, I've rebuilt millions of carburetors by this point in my life, and these ones kind of had me, I want to say intimidated, but it's like, I don't always get the easy jobs, get the harder ones, but that's okay. Just makes everything more worth the while. So let's see, how did I want to go about this? I want to leave that assembled, and let me see here. I know I got to fit like these tubes in here. Got to get at least this one, and this one right here. And maybe another thing I wanted to check too was the orientation, if I could, before I commit and reassemble these carburetors here. Oh, look at that O-ring. So got to make sure you put an O-ring on it. Let's see if I can find a picture of the orientation of the fuel, the main fuel pipe. So these are the older mechanical carbs. Older mechanical. Here we go. Can't tell. Thought there was a good picture of it. If not, we're gonna have to look at the other pictures a little bit more in detail. What the hell's a fuel pipe on this thing? Right there. So does that help? These pictures aren't the best with Slimer. Service manual isn't really the best quality. Hold on. So that's my carburetor, but I can't tell the orientation of the fuel line. Let's see, removal, fuel model, fuel line diagram. What is this? These pictures are like almost too dark, but that looks like, let's see, remove the fuel line from figure 117. Remove the fuel tube to the carburetors, figure 117. What the heck is that? Vacuum line, figure 118. Oh, is that not a vacuum? That's a fuel? Remove the screws, figure 1/8 securing the fuel pipe, fuel line diaphragm assembly to the carburetors and remove it. Fuel line diaphragm assembly. Fuck. Oh, you know what? There is something kind of similar to that. Is that what this is right here? B. Oh, that's probably a screw, is what that is. I was thinking that's like a pipe fitting. So how does this work? It almost doesn't make sense to me. Oh God, see, that's why I got confused and probably should have paid attention a little bit better before I disassembled them. Might have taken some pictures, might have some pictures somewhere. Let's see. I know I'm gonna find a picture of it. So it's gotta be a good picture of it, I'm pretty sure. Is this the closest? Let's see, B, remove screws, B. So those are screws right there. Saying that's a fuel tube. So that fuel tube right there from this fuel valve, that right there probably that connects to the gas tank, goes down to here, and I can see in the picture kind of runs down to that barb. So the orientation is pretty important. Obviously, it's probably not going to clear the linkage if it's put on a certain way. So maybe that's kind of the best way to tell. I'm going to assume it goes like this. Yeah, it probably goes like this right here. Yeah, I'd have to in order to clear that, or to clear that linkage right there on carburetor number 2. So let's see if we can figure out the O-rings here that need to go into it. So that actually might be some of the other dimensions that I need to follow up on. I was kind of hoping, let's see, I can always measure the inside, but the other thing I could do too is take the new O-rings and see if any of them are close. I did save some of the original. You can always kind of match those up. I know the broken ones are going to be for the fuel pipes. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? It looks like it may or may not. I don't know. Let's see what O-rings these come with here. So it does come with a couple of these vacuum. Let's see. Some look a little thinner. That one, this kit has like 3 of them in there. Pretty sure I only need 1. That has 3 of that. This is like an in-between size right here. So let's find out what we need essentially. I kind of like this. Let's go with this blue one. And we have plenty of kits to kind of go through. Feels okay. Interesting. Nice fit. Okay. So that's for sure going to be that size right there. So let me write down this O-ring. maybe, let's see, more dimensions. Let's see, groove ID, bore diameter. Let's see. Fuel pipe 2, 1. So go OD, ID, fitness. So let's go ahead and double check this. So I'm going to say about 68 thousandths the thickness. Forget what the OD was. OD is maybe what, 2 till it falls. So like probably, what is that, 357 thousandths maybe. Same thing with OD. I do the slit test. About 199, 200. Sometimes it works. We'll go with like 195. Okay. The grease. Okay, and I guess we can go ahead and place one of those. That's nice right there. Yeah, it's nice. Nice little interference fit. You know, another thing I could do too is the carburetor bore. About 361. Let's see. Carb bore. What did I say, about 360? It's at 360, so 360 O-ring thickness 68. Does that even make sense? 120, 130, it's 2, 3. Yeah, maybe. Kind of makes sense. All right. Let's see next. Let's see how these ones even fit. Let's try a fuel pipe. Feels a little loose, a little loosey goosey. Is that going there? Where does this go? I think this goes in there. Ooh, it's actually a good fit. Interesting. It's actually a good fit. So same thing on this one. was thinking that was is this even a fuel pipe or is that an air pipe? Might be an air pipe. And I'm calling it a fuel pipe when it's really an air pipe. It might be an air pipe. Okay, let's go and check this one. We go with about 314. Maybe 314. Let's see, thickness. So like 73. I got grease on the end of the calipers, so it makes it just a little sticky, like right now. Let's see what it's the O-ring itself. So not only is this a carburetor rebuild, this is R&D. Jesus. I want to know. We're just going to call it 75 for thickness. Is it really though? Is it really thicker? Oh, excuse me. Rest in peace, headphone users. Come on, any day now. I think that's gonna be it. We'll go with 73,000. That's what I go. 75. We'll go down to 73. All right, cool. Go ahead and grease that one up. Oh wait, I didn't get a inner diameter. It's all good. Not a big deal. Because there is, let's see, one more O-ring right here. Is that about 165? Pretty sure these are all metric. Okay, and then I'm assuming that, let's see what the bore is. About 280. About 279, 280. So cardboard 360. That one's 357 O-ring. OD 314. So why does yeah, about 314? How does that make sense though? 314. Is that fuel pipe right there? If it's 360, but the outer diameter is only 357, that almost doesn't sound like it's going to have enough interference fit. But oh hey, it's the boy. I am finally doing these carburetors here because we have other projects this weekend. We have a top end on the TRX 90 that we got to knock out. Let's see what other O-rings are going to be replaced. So I don't think these O-rings right here, those don't look like they're the same diameter. Not even close. Maybe that one just a little bit. Let's see. And we have a bunch of O-rings. It's like one kit kind of came with like a bunch of extra parts. Let's see what other O-rings were there that were critical. So I have one more here. So this kit came with what looks like a couple different sizes. I don't think these ones right here will be used. Yeah, that's way too loose, that one right there. So different. Let's see. I don't think these didn't have an O-ring. There's no O-rings on the throttle valve shaft. None of that. Let's see. Nope. I don't think there was any O-rings on the main jet. What's this? Got a little O-ring here. Oh, okay. That must have been off the pilot mixture screw. So I'm assuming then if I pull out another jet kit, and the thing about this too is I'm assuming this is for not the 1981, but maybe like the late 70s. I think the 78 through 80. Um, the carburetors are a little different. It kind of makes sense, you know. They had to change them around, but let's see. We're gonna need. Let's see what other O-rings we got that's in this kit here. Don't gotta worry because we got enough kits, and we'll probably put in these ones too. I'm thinking that way they can actually be adjusted. We can probably replace most of the parts depending on the quality. Let's see, those ones right there. That one's still different in size. That's like its own O-ring right there. But we have 4 of those. That'll be for the air pipes. I don't know if, I'm not sure. When I blow into it, seems like it's sealing. I mean, the best way would be obviously once they're put together, go ahead and put some gas in it and see how well they seal. Hopefully, the fuel makes the O-ring swell up a little bit. What is it? O-rings do expand a little bit, but they're exposed to fuel up petroleum. O-rings do. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking right now. That's kind of funny. You said it literally right as I was thinking it. Um, Once the carburetors are assembled and you put fuel into them, it's probably going to cause the O-rings to swell, and they should hopefully seal those bores right there. the tubes and the bores with the O-ring, and hopefully we don't have any leaks. Jesus, we're in an hour into this thing and we're still trying to take O-ring measurements. Let's go ahead and try to go a little bit quicker on this. Figure out where we're at. I think this one's going to go in the middle right there. Fits pretty nice. Pull a little bit of extra grease for good luck. Okay. Okay, what else do we have? I think there was these two now. So let's see if I can, I think I should have enough O-rings. So what does it take? 2 kits has enough O-rings in theory, assuming these are the correct size O-rings. Yeah, I've noticed that on the float bowls. Hopefully, usually it's on like the China ones, but like a good, good like all balls or OEM, usually they're like a perfect fit. Maybe have to use like a little bit of sealant on them or something like that, but usually they're pretty solid. Okay, let me see. So this is gonna go like this. Those pipes down there. Shafts, tubes, and oh yeah, that's gonna be the center pipe here. So I'm assuming that's gonna use the same O-rings as this one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Assuming that's it right there. Just kind of eyeball them. Lube up all these O-rings. Usually any fuel, any extra grease, the fuel usually just washes it away. Let's see, where can I put this? That one, is this one? Yeah. Bam, right there. And let's see, that one. This one right here feels loose. Why does this one feel loose? That one fits nice and tight. Let's see how that fits into the body. Nice little slide fit. I feel like this O-ring actually isn't possibly a good candidate. Yeah, they're like a little too on the loose side, which is interesting. I wonder if this has like a different dimension. It's about 245. No, 244. Yeah, no, they're the same. So, I mean, in theory, these O-rings right here should be. Huh, that's interesting. Well, what we can do, just pull out another kit. So we got float bowl gaskets here. Look at all these O-rings. So, I'm thinking these ones, these are different. You know what? It might have been those ones that I was trying to put on. These all the same. Oh, these all are the same size. That's probably why. This one right here. So those are for the little ones. I think this is what I was putting. But we will try this oddball. Maybe because technically it's a rotating part. Let's try this. Oh, so I have to block all sorts of holes. Yeah, seems to hold pressure when I block them off and blow into it. I want to say that O-ring's kind of doing what it should be doing. So interesting, very interesting. This is just based on theory too. Who knows how accurate this is right here, but I wonder what those O-rings go for. Could be for completely different, more than likely completely different. What is this? Super Lube sells a good clean white dielectric grease, the best for assembly of seals on metal like crank seals. Super Lube sells a good clean white dielectric grease. Is that what you use for installation? Like for pressing them into the case? Market is engine assembly grease. Oh, okay. I mean, usually the assembly grease I'm using is this stuff right here. This is pretty good. This is usually for like journal cranks and stuff like that. If I'm pressing in a seal or something, I'm just going to use like regular grease for the most part. All right, so kind of figured that out. Let's see. So it does look like there's actually a little O-ring right there. Holy cow. Interesting. Ah, is that what these are for? No, maybe not. Maybe too small of a diameter. Oh, these. Maybe. Let's see how they fit on the shaft. Oh, oh no. Feels a little loose, but then again, I don't know, I'm kind of afraid. It looks a little loose if I take that O-ring out and it's not the right size. Let's see. Looks like I don't see an O-ring in this one. There's an O-ring in that one for sure. So for sure has one O-ring that I can see. Let's see, is there a Ah, whoa, almost dropped a carburetor. So I just noticed something too before I actually put them together. Does that have to be like that? Does that go like that? We got the wrong parts in here. What's going on? It's only one, two, unless it goes like that. And I know this throttle shaft arm that goes. This is it's pretty complex carburetor. So that goes like, oh, whoops, hold on, we're flipped around. So it's normally, I'm pretty sure the cable is going to keep it in the neutral position like that. And then as you pull the cable, pretty much it would close the choke. Okay, so that's a little thing to remember. Make sure that I guess this arm right here is outside of the tube. If you let it go all the way back down and try to put that tube in and put together, won't be able to get this out. Let's see. So yeah, we're probably not going to replace those O-rings. I don't know if I have the right size for them. So the best thing that we can do is probably just put a little bit of grease on the shaft ends. Let's see how we can do that. I know this is going to go like this. It's going to go like that. It's pretty much going to be sealing on those two ends. So it's probably a way to do this. I was like almost thinking like, could you just put a little bit of grease in there like that? And then a little bit of grease in there like that. Let's see. You could always wipe it off too, of course. So this spring's going to go like that. Oh, this was a bitch. I was messing with this earlier, and this choke spring right here is kind of difficult to mess with. Just kind of rest it like that in that position, if I'm not mistaken. See the spring one end right there on the choke actuator, then one right here, and then this other linkage arm from the other carburetor. I forget where that went. It's probably around here somewhere. This one right here. That spring will actually go into that little groove right there once it's installed, and then you'll see there's like a little indentation right where that spring is, and this arm right here basically goes like that, and that spring goes in that groove. This will be installed. So this is another little part, this throttle or choke shaft. This is going to get installed. We'll go ahead and do the same thing. Probably put, let's see, I think it was this one here. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one goes there. So that goes like that. Pretty sure this one, let's see, a little tricky. One goes like that. This will go through here. Grease. Not mistaken, I think that went like that. I don't think there's like any spacer or anything like that on this one. Could I be mistaken? Hmm. So I do know there was, let's see, there's that little rubber boot and this little rubber boot, but I'm pretty sure these go, just messed up the speed. These are going to go like that on the inside. Yeah, those will go like that. So I couldn't remember if anything actually went over here, if there was like an actual seal. If there was, I don't have one. And the other thing would be is it probably doesn't exist. So I'm guessing it's like a piece of rubber, maybe like a rubber boot or something like that. It's like the only thing that I could think of. And then I remember this little tube. I think this little tube was in there. I'm not sure if that was in the bag or I don't think it was. Might have been connecting. Let's see. So these little tubes right here are going to go right there. So yeah, those are all connected, it looks like. These little tubes. So we'll have to cut a couple more of those. Let's see. That one's casted, blocked off. Same thing, blocked off, blocked off. So that's open, open. Pretty sure that's open. Yep. Yep, that's open. So yeah, that tube definitely is going to go like that. So 1, 2, 3. So we're going to need about a total of 3 of these. Let's see. Ooh, bless me. Let's see what we got. Check the goodies. Yeah, seems to fit pretty well. Perfect. So I'm guessing, let's see, is that going to be the correct length? Is this a middle length or is this like a, ooh, this is going to be difficult. I might not be able to record this with the iPhone on my chest. This is gonna be like fucking putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Let's see. All right, boom. So, see how that is right there? I don't think that's supposed to be like that. But maybe that's the only way it goes in. Those look like they're fully seated. Those look like they're fully seated. Yeah, so that looks like that's going to be that one. Let's see here. So it looks like it's going to be a little shorter piece of tube. So that length, and then looks like a shorter length. And I don't think I have anything to go off of. I have this bigger piece. I'm not sure where this one came from. Not sure if that was like that. I don't think, pretty much this job was like, hey, here's a box of parts, figure it out. Let's see. Maybe this was from my own inventory. Yeah, that I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that goes like that. It wouldn't fit any other way. So I'm guessing, yeah, it probably goes like that once this is in the correct orientation. Yeah, no, it probably goes like that. So we need different length. See if we can kind of eyeball measurement. See if I can get a little bit better light. Eyeball right here. About 540 thousandths. Is that about right? Eyeball precision. Oh man. Okay, so I need to cut 2 of those. Not a big deal. So we can go ahead and mark it. Looks like I can kind of see the mark. Not really. Hold on. Grab a Sharpie. So that doesn't really quite help. Cut to the outside. Huh. About 60 thousandths over, but it won't. I think it wants about 540. So it might be a little, let's see. So want 540 or 600 okay? Ooh, I think 600 is okay. It's a perfect fit. Okay, so yeah, these are like little ticks and trips right here. Put these freaking carb rack together, place all the little doodahs that are in it. Set on the outside of that. Huh? Just a little shy, about 587. That's close enough. 600,000 to my, depending on how much pressure I put on it. It's cut within 10 thousandths. It's a piece of rubber, good enough. All right, cool. So we can assume this one will go right here. That like that. Let's see, second size difference. Oh, actually considerably smaller. Did I measure this one right? It's the long one's about 600. That's about 595. Must be the way they're being measured. Ah, I see. Yeah, it's about 20,000 smaller. It's not going to hurt anything. So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of grease for assembly. That way it kind of slips on a little easier when that time comes. Okay. Go ahead and split this one. Let's go ahead and take the measurements. Roughly about 1 inch, 550. And just cut just a little extra. Probably not going to hurt anything. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of grease. Grease. The whole thing we don't want is too much springing action, but it looks like there's enough here. Should be good. Goes like that. Okay. Should be good. Okay. So what else? What else got to get put on? I wonder. Go ahead and finalize this maybe before, because realistically, once I get this choke lever on right here, the spring and whatnot, go ahead and finalize it. So that spring is going to go down. Oops. It's going to get attached right there. Okay, bam. So that spring is going to go like that for the most part. Oh, and I'll just go ahead and mess it up by pushing it back out again. Yeah, this is the harder part right here. Simple as a choke mechanism. Oh, there we go. Got it back in. Okay. Try not to knock that out of the way. Let's see. So if I'm not mistaken, this part goes like that. Something like that. All right, cool. That looks like, probably something like that. That went right there, judging by the space. So my best guess is it probably deteriorated or um, and fell off at some point. That would have been something that I would have noticed on the rebuild. Yeah, definitely don't got that part. So let's see. Just kind of check its function. So these carburetors don't want to come apart. So that'd be full choke. That's the resting position. And if once the plates are in, should probably restrict it to about like right there. Oh, just got a shop light again. Oh, and then it went away. Pretty sure that's how that's supposed to work. So spending all my time struggling. Oh, there we go. So I wonder if it'll work a little bit smoother. Maybe we'll spray a little bit of WD-40 on it. Seems like it's, for the most part, it seems to be functioning. Oh, and I just messed it up. Boom, full choke. Full choke. Probably sit right there once the choke plate's in the half position. Let me see. Oops. And this one right here should be able to move just a little bit, independent. All right, I think that's it. Well, it took about almost hour and a half or plus just to kind of figure out O-ring sizes and how this thing goes together. I'm gonna see before I put this together if I can like snake a piece of tube in there to kind of act as a seal. Won't be perfect, but it'll be better than nothing. I'm trying to think how I can even do that. It's gonna have to be something like this right here. Maybe something that just like barely slips in. I'm pretty sure I'll just end up using a tube that's gonna be too thin. Might be a little too thick right there. Let's see. Maybe not. No, it might work. This might be a good candidate right here. Let's see. Ooh, don't want to cut the original. Maybe like right. I don't want too much crush. That. It's 442 thousandths. Oh, it's about 540. So it's be a little too much. Or is this one naturally longer? Let's see. Nope, it's probably going to be that standard size. Yeah. So maybe a little too much. Let's see. We want about, I say about 440. Oh, Okay, we'll cut it right at that line, see where we land. Oh, 460, 440. Should be fine. I'm thinking that'll be perfect. Maintain a little bit of a dust seal, a little bit of grease. It should oscillate. Shouldn't create a vacuum leak because that's on the choke side. It'll mainly be a bushing. I highly doubt these little pieces are available still. I was having a hard time getting parts for this thing, so I kind of figured with most of these vintage bikes that I work on, I have to start making custom parts after a while. So that's going to be that. So we got that figured out. Let's see. Keep. So that's too long. It's going to be. It's going to be this one right here. Yep, and we can go ahead and throw away this air pipe. Nothing special going on there. Okay. I replaced the fuel line on my GoPed. Get the GoPed going. Got a CBR600 FRI engine we got to rebuild. We're going to rebuild that one there. Get that out. We got a Ninja 250 gas tank we're working on, so we can finish that bike up. We're going to make that a track bike, hopefully. All right. And I think that's about it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. And I think we're pretty much good. Just got to disassemble it, slide in that little boot. We'll kind of put this all together. I don't think there was anything else down there on that side that I needed to figure out. And then essentially after I get the racks put together, the rest of it's pretty simple and straight, it's all downhill. So, all right, cool. If you guys just found this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Not too often that we work on Honda CB650 the 4-stroke models. I think that's what they're called, CB650F or 4s. So this is definitely an interesting one. It's definitely technical. It's definitely a lot of little things that need to be checked in order to yeah, these limiting adjusters here. I don't even think these aren't even removable. You don't even need these. These are just so you can't richen up the fuel mixture system. The previous gen before that didn't have those, and the 81, 82 did, and that was so they could pass emissions. So that's pretty much it, guys. I think this is going to be part one. We're going to go ahead and charge the iPhone, eat a little bit of ice cream, and come back for part two. Thanks for watching.